Have you ever been so alone that it felt like the entire world had turned its back on you? Then you already know the ache that hangs over the Smoky Mountains and lives on in the legend of the Boojum. The Smoky Mountains, mesmerizing blue ridges that roll endlessly, veiled in mist that breathes from the earth and hides things that don't want to be seen. Legends hold that if you wander too far and let the fog close in around you, you'll feel eyes watching you. Not beast, not man, something in between. This is MonsterQuest Origins. Straddling the border of North Carolina and Tennessee, Great Smoky Mountains National Park covers over 800 square miles. To its millions of visitors, it is a place of natural beauty and repose. To the Cherokee, it is a sacred homeland. To the peoples of Appalachia, it is a cradle of culture, a place of layers. And within those layers, something darker may linger. That's why there are rules in these parts. Don't ever answer the whistles you hear at night. And if you hear someone whisper your name when you're alone, ignore it. It's not your friend. Never stare into the moving trees either. Some say the forest looks back. All these rules come from the old legends of this land. And within those legends is a monster, the Boojum, a mysterious figure born out of upheaval, both natural and man-made, that has come to represent the history of the Smoky Mountains.
The Smokies was home to thousands upon thousands of people over many, many thousands of years. The Cherokee and the tribal groups before.
For centuries, Cherokee families lived in these mountains, planting in the valleys, gathering from the forests, and fishing the clear mountain streams.
Cherokees have a concept called tohi. It's basically a concept about living in balance. All of our ceremonies, all of our beliefs, all of our practices centered around making sure that we could live in balance with our homelands.
That balance became more difficult when colonists arrived in the 18th century. Colonists who did not see this as Cherokee land, but as a wilderness to claim as their own. For a time, the Cherokee tried to share the land with the colonists until the Indian Removal Act of 1830, and the ensuing Trail of Tears forced thousands of Cherokee and other indigenous groups west.
That process, of course, results in incredible numbers of fatalities. But we were looking at how we could find ways to stay here and what kind of loopholes existed in the Indian Removal Act.
A number of Cherokee people managed to stay, yet they were minorities on their ancestral land. But soon, they too would be removed, along with those who had settled there when the Great Smoky Mountains National Park was created on June 15th, 1934.
Atop the purple high country of North Carolina and Tennessee lies the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. 300,000 acres of southern highlands wilderness.
For some, it was a triumph of conservation, a chance to save the last of the wild forests. But for those who had lived there, it meant something else.
The park was created out of people's properties. Entire communities, in a few cases, were moved outside the park, and many struggled to make a living.
Logging was huge here, but in the 1940s, it starts to kind of dry up. And during that time, we become one of the poorest communities in the nation.
All those years of upheaval, of hardship, of loss, may have taken form in the lonely, hulking figure of the Boojum. The first mention of the Boojum in print was likely in 1876, when Lewis Carroll introduced it in his poem, The Hunting of the Snark. But stories started long before that. The Boojum was said to steal gems from miners. But in one tale, the Boojum found something more valuable than any gem, a young woman named Annie. One evening, exhausted from her work, she wandered to a mountain spring to bathe. Out of the trees, the creature emerged. She looked into his eyes, but didn't run away. She saw loneliness. So she followed the Boojum into the forest, becoming its companion. Though the love between the two of them was precious, the Boojum's hunger for those precious gems was never satiated. He continued to sneak away every night, searching for jewels in the dark, leaving Annie sad and alone under his spell. She would call for him, hooting into the silence, and somewhere deep in the woods, the Boojum would answer. Their cries, a strange duet of longing and despair. Some have wondered if the Boojum echoes older Cherokee stories of good and bad spirits in nature that may have been misunderstood or reshaped by colonists.
There might be some scary elements to a few of our stories, but I think the majority of our stories are instructions for us on how to live, how to be in balance, how to live in tohi with our environment.
Passed through story and song, these teachings still shape the Smokies. But to outsiders, those spirits may have seemed like monsters. Whether or not its roots are Cherokee, the Boojum reveals something about how a place becomes a story. This might explain the explosion of Appalachian myths and cryptid sightings across social media. The idea of Appalachia as a place of mystery, upheaval, and survival has manifested as videos and posts addressing that anxiety head-on. Perhaps in that way, these stories aren't that different from the oral history of the Cherokee.
Some of these oral histories use them as warnings of how to interact with this place and with this land. This place doesn't belong to any one of us, and we all have to exist here together. Making sure that we are doing that in a way that benefits all of us is, I think, better for the whole.
Today, if you visit Appalachia, you might feel it. The weight of history, the pulse of the land, the echo of something ancient stirring among the trees. And if you follow that feeling, if you follow that strange trail, you might just find a story of beauty and turmoil, a story of struggle and resilience, a story of this place.